Well, it's day 9, and today we're heading to Yokosuka. But first we're going to go across the street and get some breakfast. Now, Royal Host is a family restaurant that was originally based in Kyushu. Interesting story is the founder originally got his start as a chef working on a U.S. military base in post-war Japan. I think I'll pick the Royal Host morning for breakfast. Which is egg, toast, bacon, yogurt, potatoes, and some kind of corn soup that I'll just eat. Now there's definitely a quicker way to get to Yokosuka. Given that it was rush hour and I was trying to avoid Yokohama Station, we chose this long route which involved 3 or 4 transfers to get there. It works. We weren't in a hurry. Now, Yokosuka is a famous port town. It's currently home to both the U.S. Naval Base and the Japanese Marine Self-Defense Force. Historically, a lot of famous battleships were actually built here, and as you walk through Verney Park, a lot of their graveyards remain as monuments to their construction. Now, this 16-inch cannon belonged to the IGN Mutsu. This was a Nagato-class battleship, and it's also believed to be one of the first 16-inch guns used on a battleship. The IGN Mutsu was used in Pearl Harbor, Guadalcanal, and Midway. After that, it was mostly harbored. Now, the sinking of the IGN Mutsu is considered a friendly fire incident. At the time it sank, it was actually docked on an island near Hiroshima when a massive explosion set off in turret number 3 suddenly sank the ship. They could find no signs of submarines, and so they came to the conclusion that a disgruntled employee who was accused of theft must have did the job. Out of about 1,500 crew members, only about 300 survived. So over here you have the U.S. base, U.S. Navy somewhere in there. I think that's our submarine. Whoops, I guess it's not ours. Maybe those are our frigates. I don't know. Japanese base. U.S. base. Japanese base. U.S. base. Ooh, a jellyfish. If you'd like a closer look at the boats in the harbor, there are tours available. Now, as you travel around Verney Park, you'll find many other monuments that are key moments of Yokosuka's past. Now, this man was famous for being one of Japan's first delegates to the United States when they were opening the harbors. He advocated for the construction of the Yokosuka Arsenal and also the shipyard. Unfortunately, he refused to accept the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and would not acknowledge the emperor as the new form of government. Because of this, it was off with his head. Now, Verney Park is dedicated to Francois Verney. He was a French naval engineer who came to Japan in 1865. He's responsible for building the arsenal and the shipyard here. Now, on both ends of Verney Park, there are some free museums you can check out. This one has got some history about the origins of food and how Western cuisine kind of started here in Yokosuka. Nearby, you'll find monuments to the many now gone battleships of the past. Now, about a 20-minute walk from Verney Park, you'll find the Battleship Mikasa. It's even shorter if you can figure out the bus system, but I honestly gave up. Now, the Mikasa is the world's last pre-Dreadnought era battleship. It's got one heck of a battle story and a really long history. I'm glad this ship is still around to look at. You just go over to the gift shop and buy your tickets and head up the ramp. So the pre-Dreadnought battleships were all about the broadside. And because of this, Mikasa's got 50 guns total, 46 of which are used for broadsides. Her biggest cannons were 4 12-inch guns, mounted on 2 twin turrets. Jeez, these guys are taking forever. Man your battle stations. Take a nap. Target acquired. Waiting for orders, sir. Hey, you can't park there. My understanding is this is an old mine, but Google Translate says it's a torpedo, so I'm a little bit confused. And recycle, reduce, reuse. Got a boat full of holes? Make a lantern out of it. Now the captain's quarters reminds me a lot of a fancy hotel in the 1900s. You've got a clawfoot tub. You've got a spacious kitchen. You've got fine dining. And if your neighbors are too loud, well, you've got cannons that mount at every table. And that bed couldn't look any more comfortable. The bathroom is full of luxury. Below deck you'll find a museum that illustrates the Battleship Mikasa's famous history. Now in this famous battle, the Japanese had superior numbers, but the Russians had more battleships. A lot more battleships. Admiral Togo was able to circumvent this scenario by crossing the T, which is a famous sailing method from the broadside era, where you would simply sail in front of your opponent, allowing you to hit them with your broadside, whereas they can only fire their forward gun, giving you the advantage of superior firepower. And if you're familiar with Admiral Yamamoto, who was behind the Pearl Harbor attack, he actually served in the Russo-Japanese War and was on board the armored cruiser Nishin. This shows the boat he was on and where it was hit during the conflict. So this here's a rangefinder. Made in 1902, this gave the Japanese an advantage in determining range when firing their cannons. If you go up to the bridge, you can actually find one that you can still look through and see how it kind of worked. Hello down there! Now down at the gift shop, I got this motorcycle helmet dude and a Mikasa Sukachan. Now Sukachans were post-war Japanese fashion. They were based off of varsity jackets and were originally made here in Yokosuka and sold to U.S. servicemen. I also picked up a guide to the Navy Burger. This is the second part of my quest today. Now what's a Navy Burger? The Navy Burger dates back to post-war Japan. Local sailors needed a place to eat and wanted familiar food. So an admiral gave the mayor of Yokosuka a 1945 cookbook for the United States Navy. In this, he found a recipe for hamburgers. So in my Navy burger mission, I decided to go to Honeybee. This was originally opened in 1968. It's one of the first places serving the Navy burger. Coincidentally, the founder of Honeybee got their experience working in a 1950s military galley. They went on to open up the Honeybee in around 1968. This was the middle of the Vietnam War era. At the time, you'd find lots of drunken sailors at night fighting on the streets. So eating good food was a better way to spend your time. Now, call me a traitor, but I'm going to choose the California burger. That's a bit of an Oregon joke. Maybe next time I'll get the big Honeybee burger. Now, true to its 1960s nature, this restaurant had a lot of atmosphere. The grease was so thick I couldn't even walk on the floors, and it just screamed authentic. As for the burger, it was a nice taste of home. Is 10 days too soon to be homesick? I'm not sure yet. That's it for day 9. Make sure to come back for day 10. We're going to go back and do what we missed on day 7, which was the Nippon Maru, the North Korean Spy Museum, and we'll even do some karaoke. But maybe we'll just talk about it. You don't really want to listen to us sing or anything.